Hey, this is Kirk from Go Make Music, and today I want to show you the free LFO tool that is already inside Logic Pro X. If you have Logic, then you have this. Now, an LFO tool is amazing because it's a great way to add excitement, to add motion, to add dynamics to any track that's inside your session. An LFO tool is basically mimicking the shape of an LFO, so low frequency oscillator, and it uses that shape to manipulate certain things on an audio signal. The most common two are volume and filter cutoff. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Now, there's actually a paid plugin called LFO Tool that Xfer Records makes. It's about $50, and it's pretty amazing. People love it. It's got a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of control features, but you might not need all that stuff right now, or you might not want to pay $50. So here is a great way to use what you already have to do a lot of the things that this LFO tool can do. So let's dive in. I'm going to show you some examples and some advanced techniques, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Then you can decide, do you want to drop the $50 on the full blown out plugin, or do you want to just use what you got to do what you need to do? Let's dive in. So we got a basic beat, drums, synth, and pad, okay? And I want to create some motion in this synth. Now I could do it inside Alchemy, but I want to show you with this LFO tool because then you'll be able to add it to any type of sound that you want to work with. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to Step Effects. Now, if you've never pulled that up, it's not going to be like right there. It's going to be in your multi-effects down here. Step Effects, Stereo. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on when you first pull up your default factory preset. It's like, okay, that's cool, but that's not really what I want to do right now. I'm going to show you how to use the gate feature. So turn off the filter here, and we're just using the gate. I'm going to turn off the reverb. None of this other stuff is going on. So we're going to use the gate, okay? So now, right now, let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what's happening. You see this shape. This is like a triangle wave, right? This is the LFO. This is mimicking an LFO shape in order to do something, in this case, gate. So you can think of the gate as volume envelope, okay? Or amp envelope, if you see that on different synths. Now, we got swing, rate, and depth. That's it. And then we can adjust this shape. I want to create that classic sidechain pump, and I want to do it at quarter notes. So I'm going to take this down to quarter notes. I'm going to keep my depth all the way up, and now you can see the box is moving at quarter notes. So here I am, quarter notes. Okay, but I want it to be a little sharper going to the end. So I moved these points over. And then maybe I want it to be even more drastic, so I can pull this down. And I can just have fun with it, right? See, that's the type of thing you cannot do with just a typical use the kick to sidechain the volume. This is where you can get really detailed with the groove that you're building with this shape, with this LFO, this low frequency oscillator. And you're like, okay, that's cool. So that's great. That does exactly what I need it to do, and it's free, and it's inside. And the coolest part about this is that you can actually do this same thing to an audio file, which is why it's amazing. So let's pull this up. We got this pad going on here. Just kind of a rumbly pad thing, right? and I want to make it come alive a little bit. So I'm actually going to take this same thing. I'm going to hold Option and copy and paste that same plugin over to that. And let's hear what that sounds like. It's like, cool. I dig that, right? So now I'm using a LFO tool on an audio file. That's where it starts to get really fun. So let's try using it as a filter instead of just straight up volume. What does that sound like? So we're going to come back here to our step effects, and instead of using gate, which is basically volume, we're going to use filter. So now that's controlling this guy right here. So it's the same thing. It's going to be these. See, when we go to the gate, we have this step sequence going on. When we go to the filter, we're like, oh man, I got all these warbly things going on and I want to fix it. It's pretty easy. I can just grab this up and then drag it over. So now these are all the way up. I can remove these ties just by clicking this. And now on my filter cutoff, I can bring this down to quarter notes. And I'm gonna turn on my resonance, and I got my depth all the way up. Right? So now let's see what that sounds like. Now I want it to open up over time. So that means I'm moving my attack over this way. So now instead of just opening up the volume, it's literally opening up the filter over and over and over again. That's the LFO tool. Now I could say, well, I don't want it to be opening like that. I want it to be closing every single time. So I'm basically reversing the direction. And maybe I want my rate to be eighth notes. Okay, so you could see how that would be super fun and creative. Now you can do a lot of this stuff inside Alchemy, but if we're in an audio file that doesn't have a built-in LFO, let's pause this guy. So like this, basically doing the same thing. Open up step effects, and instead of using the gate, we're gonna use the filter. And then we're gonna go inside the filter and mess around with it. So I'm gonna turn these guys off. So this is my shape. I can make it more plucky, or I can make it longer. Add a little reverb. Now, one thing you will notice that happens sometimes when you're using audio with these, I'm gonna turn that reverb off, is you get these little pops. You can fix that a couple ways. You can kind of back off the attack, kind of rounds it out. Click, 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 click. Less click. And sometimes you get these low end rumbles. So you can right? That's partly the sound itself. So it's like, this is super fun. Just how creative you could get with just this simple step effects tool and using this LFO, playing with the shape, playing with the sequence, playing with the rate, playing with the depth, and just having fun with it. So let me know in the comments, do you think it's worth it to go ahead and just buy the LFO tool from Xfer Records, spend the $50 and do all the stuff that it can do? Or do you think it's cool to just use this guy, the Step Effects LFO tool inside Logic, and go from there? Just let me know, drop a comment below. Also, if you are a Logic user and you've been wanting to get faster with things like key commands and shortcuts, then I have a free cheat sheet download for you. Just go to www.gomakemusic.org/Logic Shortcuts. I'll put a link below as well, but just go there, download the PDF. I got some videos that go with it also, and it's just the most essential key commands and shortcuts to help you get the most out of your time in Logic while you're making music. So check that out. I know it'll be super helpful for you. And until next time, go make music.